My face cam corrupted while recording this video. So enjoy Blog instead.
BT12 is right round the corner. It is unfortunately delayed for the UK and some other parts of Europe, but I know that you guys in North America will be getting BT12 like either right now or very, very soon. So I wanted to make a tier list. While most tier lists may be made by TCG players who know what they're doing and be based around things like the meta and playability, I am making a tier list based on, does the deck actually look good? So what are the prettiest decks for BT12? What are the most beautiful decks that when you play them, not only are you enjoying yourself, but your opponent is as well? Well, or they're jealous, or perhaps like me, when I see opponents with a maxed out rarity deck, I get the fear, oh god, I'm in danger. So I have this tier list that I've made here. Now, I haven't put every single deck in here. I know that there is a couple missing, probably more than a couple to be honest. How I'm tiering these decks is obviously art is very subjective. So it's going to be my subjective viewpoint on how good this deck looks. So are there many alternate arts in this deck? Do you get a lot of textured cards? How consistent is the feel of these decks? And that will come into play later when we go through things like the save cards and the X-Cross cards and Doorbickmon, where they use a lot of different cards from a lot of different Digimon lines, which make the deck, in my opinion, feel a bit messy and a bit not very consistent. So without further ado, we're going to go straight into Bagramon or Bagra Army. The alternate arts for Bagramon are actually amazing. He himself for Bagramon and Darkness Bagramon, their alternate arts are sick. Done by one of my favourite artists who has done WarGreymon and some of my absolute favourite art from the Digimon TCG. This artwork is stunning. You also have a nice consistent purple theme throughout everything. So all your cards are going to be purple and black, obviously lists varying, but there is a nice consistency throughout the deck. You also do run Death XMon. That alternate art is very, very pretty. That is going to though set you back a lot of money. And the one thing with Darkness Bagramon as well, if you're an absolute madman, if you wanted to run the rarest deck with the beautiful silverness of it, you could. Apart from your big level 6s or 7s, in the case of Darkness Bagramon and Death XMon, you're not seeing much alternate arts and kind of really nice Tetra cards otherwise. So while your end is really, really nice, and if you're running the BT12 purple Tamer, you get that really nice Tamer artwork that is a theme of BT12. Yeah, there's not much going on down below. There's, of course, some nice Koki artworks in there, but I'm not gonna up this just because Koki. The deck's level 6 is really nice, and there's really nice consistency, but I wouldn't put it in S tier just because I think there's not enough alternate arts running throughout this deck to really make it stand out and pop. Now, talking about a deck that is really stand out and gives you a lot of choice for alternate art cards, you've got Beelzemon. Now, Beelzemon is unfairly pushed up by, of course, our ST14 deck, our premium deck set. So you've got some really nice cards in there for Beelz and some really nice alternate arts from EX2, from that S14, from BT12. You've got Blast Mode. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck. You can add Beelstar in there, and you've got really nice consistency with the artists if you're using just the base and not going for the alternate arts. You've got Sasasi, which does a lot of the card art in this set, which makes it feel consistent. And if you wanted to stuff it full of alternate arts and max rarity cards, this deck is absolutely stunning. The Digimon looks cool as well. He's a really, really cool looking Digimon. I personally, when it comes to Beelzemon X Antibody, I actually prefer the normal SR to the alternate art, but of course the alternate art is textured, so if I see that in person, I think I'll probably change my mind. So we're going to go right into S tier, so proper nice looking deck. There's not much else to say about it, and it also benefits from the fact that it is very meta. You're going to really be able to appreciate this deck, use it a lot, it's going to see a lot of play. Everyone's going to be able to enjoy the look of this deck, regardless of how probably people feel about how this deck is a little bit mean, potentially. And now we go into WarGreymon X. Now, WarGreymon gives you a lot of choice. So you can go Galmon, WarGreymon X Antibody, you can add in WarGrey. you've got a lot of choice, and with it using the poster child of Digimon, you have actually got a lot of alternate art. So at the lower end, you have Agumon X Antibody, beautiful alternate art, though I'm not going to give it too much credit for that because you're going to be digivolving over it a lot of the time and you're not going to see it for very long. However, there's a lot of nice arts and alternate arts of the Greymon. For example, for using the Security +1 Greymon, you've got that borderless artwork that you could get in the last set pre-release. I have 4 of those. They look stunning. You've got a lot of alternate arts for Metal Greymon as well, as obviously for the Blackwall. Your Tamers, your Yuyas, the alternate art for that has Blackwall Greymon in the actual card itself. And then also the new tie. The new black tie looks great with a whole new BT12 theme and with X Antibody. Now I do have to say X Antibody card does have that lovely alternate art, though you're not really going to see it because it's going to be sitting underneath your Digimon, though you will probably at least get to appreciate it via your hand. There's a lot going for it. I'm going to put it right up into proper nice. It is a very proper nice looking deck. Even just using not the max rarity, there's some very nice artwork in there, and the whole deck feels consistent because you're using consistent Digimon lines. It is very, very nice. Now we go into Doorbick. Doorbick, while there are some bits and pieces in there for some nice cards, you can use Omni on top of it, and you have lots of choice for alternate arts for Omnimon. Doorbickmon alternate arts itself, I'm really not a huge fan. I don't think it's the nicest looking alternate art. It was nice, that'll do kind of thing. Otherwise, it's a little bit all over the place. It uses a lot of different Digimon for its bottom lines. I mean, if you wanted to, you can use the Greymon for the Security Tap +1. Obviously, I like that. That's a really nice card. But otherwise, this deck is a little bit inconsistent, a little bit all over the place. And while there's individually nice cards in there, I'm going to put it as an eh. So now we go into XMonth. This is a very nice, another consistent deck. It uses green and blue and the same dragon Digimon lines all the way up through. The XMonth alternate art itself, which you're using 4 of, and you're going to be seeing it a lot, is really beautiful. Really, honestly, it's a beautiful, beautiful card. And even its normal secret rare is really good looking. You've also got Slayerdramon, and Slayerdramon has a nice alternate art. It's not my favorite alternate art. Again, it's nice alternate art, but it's got texture. And you've got Dracomon, which also has a lovely alternate art, which is really, really cute. And there's also Koki artwork in here as well. Really nice, consistent. I wouldn't put it S tier, only because it doesn't have as many alternate art versions and textured version cards as some of these guys do. However, I would put it comfortably in A. It's a very pretty deck, beautiful looking deck. I definitely would not be sad having to play this and looking at and enjoying all of these pretty artworks. And talking about poster children and decks that have a lot of choice, Gallantmon. Now, this deck I actually think has more alternate art choice than probably your Blackwall Greymon X. Like, okay, let's just forget about the Digimon for a second. The Tamer for EXO2, stunning, absolutely beautiful. You've got all of the Ultimate Cup cards. You've got all of the Store Championship cards. Gallantmon has had so much choice and so much alternate arts over these last couple of years. It looks absolutely beautiful. I am very biased as well. Gallantmon is one of my favorite Digimon. I'm going to comfortably put this probably above Galmon in a proper nice looking deck. My only downside for this deck is that if you want to run max rarity, it's going to set you back quite a bit of money because of your Growlmons. I think there's some Store Championship cards, Ultimate Cup stuff in there, which is a lot of money. If you wanted a beautiful deck, regardless of max rarity, even then that's going to cost you quite a bit because these alternate arts are quite expensive. They're not like to the moon, but they are pricey. Grand Kuwagamon, or Grandis. Now, while it's very far from my favorite Digimon, there is a nice consistency to this deck. They're not beautiful, but they're all insectoids. They all look really cool. Grandis, alternate art itself, it's okay. That's my subjectiveness because I don't really like these insect Digimon, but it's a really nice, like, looking deck. The downside is there's not many textured cards that you can give this deck. You're really using just a lot of the base cards, and while the base cards give a lot of nice consistency, there isn't a lot of pretty alternate art cards that you can give it. So as much as the consistency of this deck, I would love to put it in A, just because there's not a lot of nice alternate art cards or textured cards. that I can give. Unfortunately, poor Grandis, I'm going to have to put him down to B. Now for the Hunter's deck. Now this is a very meta deck. When it comes to the alternate arts and how pretty it looks, because of the nature of this deck, it really is not very consistent at all. You've got a lot of different colours. That is very much the mechanic of the save, that's what happens. You've got a lot of Tamers, and you've also got the old man in there, and I'm not gonna lie, not the nicest looking card. It's a little bit over the place. You do have the Tamers in there for BT12. Again, those Tamers look great, but apart from maybe some of your level 5s, you're not seeing much alternate arts. I'm actually going to put it in air. Now, Imperialmon has that starter deck. Beelzemon has got that really nice texture to it. It runs a lot of Vmons, and Vmons have a lot of choice when it comes to alternate arts. There are so many alternate art Vmons, from Ultimate Cups to box toppers, store championships, pre-releases. There's a lot of really nice Vmon that you can use in here. And the alternate art for this set is beautiful as well. Probably one of the nicest Imperial German fighter modes we've had. A lot of really nice textured cards. So many textured cards for this deck. I'm quite comfortably putting this in proper nice. I'm going to put it probably below some of these others. I don't feel it has as much choice as these guys, but it is a proper nice looking deck. Jesmond. Now, Jesmond is an interesting one. Jesmond, another fan favourite, has a lot of choice. Not as much choice as these guys up here, but you do have your Systemons, and in BT6, those Systemons alternate art look amazing. Jesmond, the alternate arts itself, look really, really beautiful. So you've got a lot of choice for textured cards, and it does feel a little bit inconsistent in the sense that you're putting these Systemons and some of these white cards in there versus just keeping all of this red. So I'm going to put it at the top of pretty. It's not, I don't think it's a proper nice deck just because of the inconsistent nature of the deck itself, but again, you've got some really beautiful cards in here, and you do have that starter deck, which will give some extra texture cards in there, so it's quite nice. Another really beautiful starter deck. Mastermon as well, with the last set, last set, BT11, where you had the Tamer come in with those Angelmon and Devimon cards and herself. Stunning deck. You got the starter deck version of Mastermon as well, or the box topper version of Mastermon. Beautiful, beautiful deck. Angelmon and Lady Devimon themselves, whether they're the alternate art versions or the regular versions, always look amazing. Got Gatomon in there. Those Gatomon from the starter decks has the texture. Beautiful deck. I'm going to put it right up here. I think I'm actually going to put it above Gurumon, actually, just underneath these two, but she is right up there with a stunning looking deck, and it's so beautiful and pretty to play. Minervamon is an interesting one. So she has some very nice cards in her deck. Minervamon herself is a really nice alternate art. You've also obviously got Death XMon alternate art, which is very nice. Lucemon Chaos mode, that alternate art is very nice. Just the normal secret rare with the textured is really, really beautiful. The whole deck feels quite consistent as well, though I know some Minerva start using some of these different save cards, so the consistency can come in and out depending on what you're doing with it. When it comes to the overall consistency and the prettiness and the amount of alternate art cards that you're using, I'd probably stick it above Grandis, and that will do. While Minervamon herself is very pretty, I think that's really it, depending on your list. I think it's the inconsistency of this deck, which for me personally brings this into that'll do. Metal Gurumon, one of the poster children. Got a lot of choice. There's a lot of beautiful Gabumon cards. Gabumon X antibody paired with this Metal Gurumon X antibody look really good, though obviously you're digivolving above Gabumon, so you're not going to see it a lot. Really consistent looking deck as well. You've got basically the Gabumon line all the way up to the top. You might run Omnimon in there, and Omnimon has some very nice alternate art. It's a very nice looking deck. I wouldn't give it S tier, just because it just doesn't have as much choice as some of these cards, but I'd comfortably put this high, pretty, very pretty deck once you got all of those beautiful textured cards in there. Red Hybrid, my baby, my child, my love. I just wish you a little bit more prettier. The alternate art for this Emperor Greymon are beautiful. And you've got some very nice alternate arts in there. Takuya alternate art, Flamemon alternate arts are very, very nice. The artwork doesn't feel as consistent as something like a Gallant and the Gaio. The artwork for me isn't as nice as some of these other decks. and there isn't as much choice either. I mean, if you're running Ancient Grey in here, the Ancient Greymon alternate art is very nice, but I mean, most of the lists I know do not run it. I mean, the new Takuya is really great. Honestly, when it comes to how pretty a deck is, I'd probably put it high, that'll do. It's not the most beautiful deck. Unfortunately, Red Hybrid, I love it and I play it and I have a deck of it. It's just not as pretty and you haven't got as much choice for these alternate art or textured cards. And now Shine Greymon. Shine Greymon is an interesting deck. Obviously, you're using all of those Greymon lines, so you're going to have nice consistency there. Uses a lot of Tamers. Marcus, or the punchy Marcus, which is great and quite funny. Shine Greymon itself, its alternate art is good. The BT2 version, you've got that nice gold version of the Shine Grey. I mean, yeah, it's okay. It's okay looking deck. Apart from like your Shine Greymon itself and maybe your Tamers, you haven't got much going for you in terms of textured cards. There isn't much choice there. So I'd probably put it quite comfortably in a high, that'll do. While I'd say it's probably a little bit prettier for me personally than Emperor Greymon, I wouldn't put it as high as these guys. I think these guys have a bit more choice when it comes to the whole deck looking much prettier. Now, All Force. Now, while this isn't a poster child, this deck is stunning. Very, very much carried by Rena, I think, and her line and introducing her into all of these cards. There is a lot of really nice choice when it comes to All Force. It's very consistent. You can have Omnimon in there. You've got a lot of Tamers. You can have some really nice Tamer alternate arts. You can have the X antibody in there. Your level 6s are really, really very pretty. If you're running Vmons, the starter deck Vmon, obviously you've got the really, really pretty starter deck texture. I wouldn't put it in S tier, but I'd put it basically the highest, prettiest deck, I think, of the A tier. It is really very, very nice. Arena in here really ups this deck. I probably could sneak it into the back of Proper Nice, but it doesn't have as much early Digimon textured cards, if that makes sense. WarGreymon, it's a WarGreymon, right? You've got all of your choice with your alternate arts for your Agumons, your Greymons, your Metal Greymons, and the WarGreymon itself. You've got all these alternate arts for the Tamers. You can have a lot of textured and alternate art cards in this deck if you so wish. Personally, I don't think it's as nice as like these guys, so I'm going to put him at the back. Weird, I know, since I'm a big Greymon fan, but I think these guys, I don't know, there's something, just the amount of choice I think you have with these decks is a little bit more than this one. But again, S tier, beautiful looking deck. I am very, very tempted to build a max rarity version of it, but I'm concentrating on a deck, which we'll come up to a moment. Shoutmon, now this is really hard carried by these alternate arts for Shoutmon. Stunning, again, right with Bagramon, done by one of my favourite Digimon artists. You've also got the really rare secret version of the BT12 set in here too. The only thing with X-Cross is, well, yeah, it just has that a little bit inconsistency that X-Cross suffers with. Your bottom end, your level 3s, 4s, you don't have much choice for alternate arts. Though if you have Shoutmon King Mode, is that level 4? I think that's a secret rare, so you've got texture there. Yeah, I'm really torn because those high-end cards which you're going to be seeing play, like you're going to have them played down, are beautiful, but it just doesn't have enough. I think I'll stick it right at the back of pretty. Oh no, I think I'll put it here. I just think with the inconsistency feeling of these saved cards, with just a lot of these Tamers, yeah, I think he feels right. That feels right to me. Now, Bloom Lord. I am so excited for when Rosemon Quartz hits us and I can make the most beautiful deck I think Digimon will ever do, and when that happens I will definitely build it and show it off on this channel. But this deck at the moment with Hydramon in there as well, it is stunning. You've got a lot of consistency throughout the deck. So many Koki artworks in here. There is quite a few Koki artworks in these cards. You've got Bloom Lord as well. You're using 4 and you're going to be using a lot of him. Hydramon, incredible looking Koki artwork. And all of these flower cards are just very pretty. Obviously, this is my bias, me liking flowers, not necessarily how much choice you have. This does suffer from the fact that a lot of the lower cards don't have a lot of textured options, unlike these S tier cards. So as much as I would love, and absolutely hurts me inside to not put it up here, because all I want to do is put that right here, just because of how beautiful this deck is with all of its flowers. Me liking flowers isn't really enough, so I'm going to stick it right at the end of Proper Nice. It really honestly belongs like in here in the pretty deck rather than in S tier, because it doesn't have enough. But this is my channel and I can do what I want, so we're sticking it here. That's my tier list. Now, I put no tier down here for if I was going to put Mother D Reaper in this, but I can see most tier lists of BT12 don't even bother putting Mother D Reaper in, because I'm not sure. I don't think she's a very good meta deck at the moment. But if I was going to have Mother D Reaper in, she would be here. So yeah, that's my BT12 bling list. Luckily, a lot of very nice meta decks can also look beautiful, and I think we'll be seeing a lot of Beelzemon decks, and everyone will get to enjoy how pretty that deck looks. You know, if you're going to be beaten by a meta deck, at least it looks nice.